hopping on to number 14, and we have probably the most inventive game that was on the 360 that I played, and that is the detective game L.A. Noire. Now, L.A. Noire was very interesting and inventive because of what they did with the facial animations and the way they integrated that into actual gameplay. Now, first off, everything that everyone noticed with L.A. Noire was the facial animations. The facial animations were brilliant. They were probably some of the best facial animations ever in a video game at the moment. Still to this day, with games still on the Xbox One. I think, you know, I've seen facial animations in loads of games, and I don't think any of them still stand up to L.A. Noire. Not to mention the fact that, you know, they had silly hand animations to go with that, but alongside that they managed to actually make it a gameplay mechanic, even though it may have been quite gimmicky in a sense, that you could interrogate someone, and the way you'd figure out how to interrogate them rightly is that their facial animations would give off a clue. So if you were saying to them, were you there at the time of the death, you know, and their face, you know, remained blank, you'd probably think it's true. Or if they were fidgeting, their face was making a few, you know, little fidgets and ticks, you'd think they might not be telling the truth, but they're not totally lying. So there was that difference where you have to choose if they are telling the truth, lying, and then I think the other one was like a middle ground or something, like trying to bring a clue out of them instead of like just pointing in their face going, "You are a liar! Tell me the truth, you bad person." And so that was a big thing of L.A. Noire, but also the story and the whole concept of being a detective. That really stood out to me. I like the sense of being a detective, and you have to go around these crime scenes, and because I'm still into all those sort of point and click search games where you have to find these clues and put them together to move forward into the story and stuff like that. So I'm really into all these sort of detective games where you can, you know, grab clues and then you combine these items, or you like figure out how to do all these things to move forward with a case or whatever. And that's the thing with L.A. Noire, was that the detective thing was a huge part of it for me. I really enjoyed going around these crime scenes, trying to put one and two together to see what actually happened, and, you know, actually step into the shoes of a detective. I know it wasn't real, it was in like the 1940s, and I don't think it was even real at all, like the what they were basing it on. I don't think detectives actually did stuff like that really, or, you know, go about a crime that way. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I didn't look at the behind the scenes, and that is my phone, so just ignore that. But to the other part of L.A. Noire, and that is the main gameplay. Now, it was open world. I'm not sure. I think it had the same problem Mafia did, where the open world really didn't do anything in terms of give you a lot of options to do. It just sort of brought the game to life, and I think that was the difference between what Mafia 2 did with their open world and what L.A. Noire did with their open world, is that L.A. Noire's open world needed to be open world because of its setting. It was set in the city of Los Angeles. God, Jesus, if I got that wrong, I would have been an idiot, wouldn't I? It's on the box cover, for Christ's sakes. L.A. Noire. And it was set in Los Angeles, and so the whole open world actually stood out because I think they did historical accuracy on it, so they actually found buildings in LA and put them into the game where they were in 1940 and how they looked like in like the 1940s. And that was quite interesting. You go around, you could focus on a building. But apart from that, the driving, gosh, the driving was a little off, I'd say. It was quite easy to drive about, but it was also quite easy to crash. It wasn't really balanced driving, I think. That's all I can really say about that. And then finally, the story of L.A. Noire. The story was interesting because it started going around from just normal, everyday, finding these clues, trying to piece together a crime scene, but the start of it was mainly about Cole Phelps's journey from being just a street policeman to being this detective. And then once you start getting into all these deaths and, you know, murders and stuff, you start trying to figure out who is doing what. This starts to become a giant crime conspiracy corporation thing. And then eventually it leads to this giant showdown and bad things happen. And it was pretty good. It was a nice little journey. It was one of those, if you ever did like a story arc in a, I don't know, school or whatever, where you did the story arc of like how a story should progress. You should have your beginning and ending, like stuff in between, conclusion, you know, revelation, stuff like that. And that's what I got with LA Noire. You got the beginning, you got the middle, you got the end, and they all linked up nicely in a little mountain where it went up to its peak, and went down to its ending. Now, just because it was going down does not mean it was horrible. That's just the way a story mountain goes. So, because it's like the journey, you go up the mountain to get to its peak, and you go down to finish your journey. And that's what I got with LA Noire, and no spoilers, but it's a great story, great gameplay in terms of what they did for the inventive part of it with the detective skills. Just the normal gameplay of walking about's fine, the shooting mechanics are fine, but overall, a good game for what they did with it. And I recommend you all pick it up, and I recommend that you also check out Carry On Plays on his playlist. He's doing one of these countdowns as well. He has some interesting choices, quite a contrast to mine, so you might want to check his out along with mine. I deeply suggest you do. I think that's everything, so LA Noire, number 14.